And it's a new week to do this again with you on News Express, exclusively brought to you by Business AM, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper. Of course, we'll begin by taking a look at the major headlines top in the paper this morning. Nigeria behind Egypt, South Africa, Morocco, Kenya. In Africa, FDI inflows. Of course, this one is talking about Egypt, South Africa, Morocco, Kenya, dwarfing Nigeria by GDP, of course, in receiving projects financed by foreign direct investment as of December 2019. Of course, we saw Nigeria receiving only 7.31% of projects financed by FDI in Africa. And well below that particular headline, Analysts play down anxiety over investment climate. Nigeria still attractive despite unrest. Reward will determine risk appetite. And then Shell, Chevron, Mobil in restive Niger Delta. And moving to page 2, we have this one from the CBN. A CBN survey shows Nigeria's optimistic about fourth quarter. Next 12 months, positive over naira inflation. All right, well, I'd like for us to start our conversation from the finance and investment section of the paper. And joining me via telephone is a publisher, Business AM, Mr. Philip Isapa. Good morning, Mr. Philip. Good to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, last week, it was indeed a historic week for the equities market. We saw gains on all trading days, pushing the ASI to 16 months high. Of course, all of this came on the back of a third quarter earnings results that we saw last week. Now, what shape should we expect the market to take this week, especially seeing all of the strength that it pulled, defying all the social unrest across the country?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. What we have seen in the last 1 week is we have had an earnings period. Normally when you have these earnings releases, investors tend to take positions. It's either they want to take profit or they want to ensure that they are properly positioned in the stock so that should there be what they call dividend payout or interim dividend payout that they can benefit from such. Now, the market was bullish. We talked about the 16-month high, all share index gaining 6.4% week on week. Breaking the psychological barrier of 30,000 points.
That's right.
To 30,530.69 points last week. Now, for this week, we expect that to continue because we hope to see more earnings releases, and investors will continue to take position as a result of that. What you have noticed is that some stocks have gained over the last couple of months, from being in low position to high positions, right, in terms of share pricing. Now, investors will position themselves, haven't seen their stocks gain significantly over a period of time. They would now take profits because the shares have accumulated high prices over time. So a lot of this is happening now. Earnings releases are coming out. Investors are taking position as a result.
All right. If you look over to the Treasury bills space, the headline on page 13 of Business AM, we saw Treasury bills rates face further compression on higher demand, of course, as bonds stay bullish. Okay.
Yes. So I was saying that we have earnings releases, we have stocks that have gained over a period of time, and investors are taking opportunities of earnings releases and as well as stocks that have appreciated. So analysts and investors are saying that with more earnings results expected this week, you're going to see such situations continue in this week.
All right, now I was just drawing our attention to the Treasury bill space on page 13 of the paper with the headline, Treasury bills rates face further compression on higher demand as bonds stay bullish. Readers might want to take a look at that one. Analyst investors anticipate sustained liquidity intervention extension of almost worth 246 billion naira from the CBN, and just below that, naira weakened 2 naira versus the dollar week on week on stock market. Now let's take our attention back to the cover page. Now talking about major analysts downplaying the anxiety over investment climate. And if you turn your attention to page 2, you also see that the CBN gave a survey indicating that the naira will appreciate, that inflation rate will fall, and that borrowing rates will rise negatively in the next 12 months. What do we owe this optimism to?
Well, first you take the entire year into consideration. You had the situation of lockdown starting in March. We entered the year, we entered 2020 with the economy looking shaky, and that shakiness was further heightened by the lockdown that we saw. Now, you will find that over time there has been some easing, only for us to have this NSAS, coming. But the survey actually was done in the third quarter, but so they're looking forward to the last quarter of the year and looking ahead to the next 12 months. Now, the optimism must have derived from the ease of lockdown, economic activities beginning to pick up, by the NSAS protest that eventually happened, so. And then from a bottom situation, you can only look up, So you will find that the result is a testament to hope. People hoping that they cannot go anywhere further below but to rise. So they expect that naira will be better managed. With especially you saw that in the last couple of months or so, the naira has been. There's been some sense of stability and some gains, especially when they try to the effort being made to try to manage the rates across the entire trade windows of the forex market. Right. So and then they expect inflation again from the bad situation. They expect it. It's all expectation. People hoping that things will be better. That inflation will be managed better, that the naira will be managed better, and that if all these are managed better than in the past, then we can only see hope and then optimism for the future. So it's household consumers' expectation. It's a signal to the economy managers to say this is what consumers are hoping to see. They think that things should be better. They expect things to be better, and that at the end of the day, that the economy will provide good reward for them.
Right. Now, readers can also turn their attention to the Nigeria frontier market segment of the paper. That's from page 22 to 24. And one of those headlines is the establishment of the $12 million cassava plant in Afam, Rivers State, by Shell Petroleum Company and the Netherlands. Of course, this project is meant to produce 12,500 metric tons of flour, starch, glucose, and the plant is also expected to create over 3,000 jobs. That one's on page 22 of the Business AM. Thank you so much, Mr. Philip Isapa, for your input on the show this morning. We'll get across to you much later in the week.
Thank you very much.
All right. Philip Isapa is the publisher, Business AM, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper.